It's all about speed and reaction. 1/3 of a mile in 15 seconds. Absolute concentration for 98 laps with the best in the sport banging on your Nerf bar. The Cayuga County Fairgrounds has become Billy Decker's stomping grounds. The Bug Chaser has been firing on all burners, and he served up some delicious home cooking. In fact, Billy has invited a few friends over for dinner tonight, and a special place has been set for a Mr. B. Hearn, although he shouldn't expect much hospitality. Come and get it. It's the tasty Suzuki Shootout, and it's live on Rush Hour. Now, the adventure continues. Rush Hour on DIRT. We are live at the home of DIRT Motorsports, Cayuga County Fair Speedway in Weedsport, New York, for the Suzuki Shootout. Hello once again, everybody. I'm Doug Logan. Welcome to Rush Hour. Tonight, the Skull Bandit Racing Super Dirt Series for Big Block Modifieds makes its final stop of the season prior to Syracuse in October. Joining me is the racing analyst for DIRT Motorsports, Gary Montgomery. And Gary, Weedsport, of course, the home of DIRT Motorsports, the home of the Hall of Fame and Classic Car Museum, but it's also the home of one great competitive racetrack.
Yes, Doug, it is. It's a 1/3 mile, and it's a Sunday night racetrack, and that's what makes it especially special, because there's a lot of Friday night places, a lot of Saturday night places, but only one Sunday night place. So they all get together here on a weekly basis. A couple of things to look for tonight, a couple of championships on the line. Track championship will be settled tonight. This is the final race of the season for the track championship. The guy that's leading in points, Alan Johnson, isn't even here. So it's down to Billy Decker and Pat Ward. They're going for the track championship. The championship for the Skull Super Dirt Series could be decided tonight as well. If Brett Hearn should win, Decker should finish 8th or further back. Hearn's got the championship locked up for 1998. So a couple of stories inside a story here tonight. We're looking for a great race.
And here is our race analysis. This one will go 98 laps, 30 cars in the starting field. The total purse, $30,000, and the winner's share, $6,000. Caution laps do not count for the first 25 laps or the last 3. We will finish under green. As for the weather, well, we have a beautiful night for racing, and we are set to go get them. How about the track description, Gary?
Well, it's a 1/3 mile oval, Doug, 3/8 of a mile, the graphic says. The straightaways are 390 feet long. The turns are banked 14 degrees. It fits the category of a bull ring racetrack.
As for our track condition, let's go down to Cowboy Paul Small.
Doug, what happens if your racetrack has schizophrenia, meaning that it's two different surfaces in one? That's what we're dealing with tonight. On the straightaways here at Cayuga County, there's plenty of soft, tacky clay, but when you get to the bottom of the corners under the cushion, it's hard as a rock. The question is, how do you set up for the racetrack, and where will the groove move? Because the racing line here changes rapidly, sometimes from lap to lap.
We have, obviously, a standing room only crowd on hand once again here in Weedsport, New York. It's the Suzuki Shootout, and we'll give the green flag and go racing after these messages.
Rush Hour on DIRT.
Rush Hour on DIRT is brought to you in part by Hoosier Racing Tires, Sunoco A+ Mini Market, and by CarQuest Auto Parts. Welcome to the pros, CarQuest.
We are just outside Syracuse, New York, Cayuga County Fair Speedway for the Suzuki Shootout on Rush Hour. The official pace car of the Skull Series is sponsored by Bombard Chevrolet, located in Skaneateles, New York. Bombard Chevy, not an auto mall, just a dealership in the country. Let's take a look at our starting grid for the Suzuki Shootout. The top 4 finishers in tonight's 4 heat races drew for their starting positions. On the pole, the 99J of Jimmy Phelps out of Baldwinsville, New York, a Cayuga County regular. Outside, the 84 of Gary Tompkins.
Starting third will be the Syracuse fireman Todd Milton. He's from Jordan, New York, and alongside is Brian Turner, 27-year-old driver who was 5th here last year in this race.
A lot of firepower in row 3. The number 1 of Doug Hoffman and the number 3 of 6-time Skull champion Brett Hearn.
Row 4 on the inside will be Bob McCray. McCready, who won this race last year. He's won it a total of 4 times in his career. Alongside is the other Ward. This is Mike Ward in the California Hot Rods, car number 45M.
6-time Mr. Dirt Jack Johnson heads off row 5. He's on the outside. It's Scott Prentice in the 47.
The sensational one, Jimmy Horton out of White House Station, New Jersey, is in the inside of row number 6. Alongside is Billy Decker in the Bug Chaser car.
Row 7, Frank Cozy and Ray Bliss Jr.
Pat Ward and Danny Johnson make up row number 8.
Row 9, it's Billy Gill and Steve Payne.
Bobby Barron, who won last night at Canandaigua, is inside of row number 10. Timmy Fuller's alongside.
Row 11, Vic Coffey and the 99B of Chuck Bauer.
Handsome G-Man from Fairport, Billy Hoff, sits inside of row 12. Jimmy Chester's on the outside in car 44.
Then it's Jason Varney and Tommy Sears.
Second generation driver Ronnie Johnson. His dad is Jack Johnson. He's just 24 years old. He's on the inside of row 14. Kenny Tremont's alongside.
And row 15, AJ Romano and Jeff Rudalovich. Starter Dave Farney has the green flag ready, and we are racing. The Suzuki Shootout is on in Weedsport, New York. Gary Tompkins has the outside lane. Jimmy Phelps inside, and Tompkins wrestles away the lead.
Tompkins powers his way around the outside to lead Phelps off into turn number 3. Brian Turner in the number 4 spot with car number 11 as they shuffle out of 4 and down the line to come out of turn 4, 3 and 4 wide. But out front is Gary Tompkins.
Milton down low has an edge on Phelps, and he's able to maintain it down the back straightaway. Brett Hearn is 4th.
Brett Hearn is on the move. He's got a good starting spot, starting 6th. He's already in the number 4 spot. He's moved by Brian Turner.
There's your battle for second place.
The red and white car on the inside is Milton. On the top of the black and white car with the number 99 is Jimmy Phelps. And of course the familiar Budweiser number 3 of Hearn running in position number 4. He's just looking for an open racetrack. That may be open now as they go single file out of turn 4.
This is just classic dirt modified racing here. Here's Brett Hearn taking the low group. He's got that 3rd position.
Well, that was a nice move on the inside. Most of the passing here tonight, I suspect, will be on the top side. Here's Danny Johnson up on the top side. He backs it into turn number 3. He's in the Bramble number 6 tonight. You never know what it's going to be in, but he's in the 6 tonight. He moves around Jimmy Horton there, and a great move on the outside.
And right behind Horton and Johnson is the Pat Ward machine. Pat Ward having a great season. A breakthrough season on the dirt circuit, just outside our picture.
And there's Bob McCready moving on the inside of Brian Turner in a battle for the position number 5 now. Right behind McCready is the red and yellow number 1 of Doug Hoffman as they battle out in turn number 2.
Now McCready is a man who has owned this racetrack, but not this year.
That's right. He hasn't owned any racetrack this year, unfortunately for him. Fortunately for all of his competitors, he's had a rather off season. He's won here a total of 2 times this year, but has not been the dominant factor here or any place else that we were accustomed to in the past.
6 laps in, as you take a look at Doug Hoffman and Bob McCready.
Hoffman in the Sweeteners Plus car, wrenched by Billy Taylor. Mike Haslett is the crew chief for the Kinney Drug Store Syracuse frame entry of McCready. And McCready's going to make a pass on the inside of Todd Milton there as they work through turns 3 and 4.
As we see that action, the leader continues to be Gary Tompkins. Second place is held down by Brett Hearn, and he is charging.
And a little bumper tag as Hoffman and McCready got together. Brian Turner is right there, and they're showing in the screen in the blue and white number 91 is Billy Decker, who's looking for the track championship here tonight.
He's currently running it.
Brian Turner's going the wrong way with that number 11. He started the number 4 spot. He falls back to the number 9 position. There is Decker going. Wow, he's going to pass 2 cars, Doug. That'll move him up to the number 5 spot. Yeah, if he makes the pass. He's not quite there yet. He's trying to sneak around on the bottom.
Well, he hasn't quite gotten Bob McCready yet, but what a great move. We were 3 abreast there, Gary.
Heavy hitters in dirt racing. McCready, Hoffman, and Decker going at it side by side. And that doesn't often happen all that often, but they're doing a great job. We talked about most of the passing on the top side. Well, Decker's got to go to the bottom if he's going to pass anybody. The top is full, so that's where he's racing right now.
He hasn't gotten the job done yet with Bob McCready. There is your battle for the lead, and we have a yellow flag.
Car slowing on the back straightaway, and I believe that was Billy Gill, the driver out of Plessis, New York, in car number 60. He slows and brings out our first yellow. Incidentally, Doug, our race leader, Gary Tompkins, is on double secret probation with his car owner. Double secret probation. You got it. They fired him a few weeks ago. He's back in it tonight. There's a big story there. Bill Trout, the car owner, but they've got their driver on double secret probation.
All right, well, I go for that. We are live at Cayuga County Fair Speedway. Our coverage of the Suzuki Shootout on Rush Hour will continue after these messages.
Rush Hour on Dirt.
Back to racing in Weedsport, and it's Gary Tompkins on the outside, Brett Hearn on the inside, and we have a pass for the lead.
We certainly do, as Brett Hearn got the jump, and somebody clobbered the wall here as they came down. I couldn't figure out who that was, but, well, Tompkins fights back on the outside. So it's side-by-side duel down the back straightaway. Gary Tompkins on the outside, Hearn on the bottom.
Brett Hearn only 2 career wins here, the 90 and 93 Skoal races. Tompkins won the 75-lap Hall of Fame Classic here in May.
This is a home track for Tompkins. He races here almost every Sunday night. Of course, Hearn only comes in for special shows. There you see Pat Ward showing in the screen for the first time. He's in the red and white bench logging car number 56. Doug Hoffman goes up over the berm and loses some ground to the number 1 car. He's going to lose a couple of spots as Frank Cozy makes a move on the inside. Here's Danny Johnson now racing on the bottom, missing a lap car.
Another yellow.
That's Mike Ward, the young driver from Genoa, New York. You hear a lot about his cousin, Pat Ward. Well, this is Mike Ward, another second-generation driver, the California Street Rods, car number 45M. A small block car that incidentally qualified here very, very well. No, they've got a big block in it tonight. Small block car qualified to heat with a bit of a surprise.
I'll tell you what surprised me. Hearn wrestling the lead away from Gary Tompkins, and then Tompkins blowing right by Hearn.
Well, the outside lane will generally work a little better here, and that's where Tompkins was running. Again, he's got a little bit of a home track advantage, if there's such a thing, over Hearn, who's got a lot of laps here, but not as many as Tompkins probably. So we talked about the double secret probation. Well, his car owner, Bill Trout, isn't here. We hope he's watching this thing down in Florida. But Tompkins, if he can win this thing, he'll probably go off of his double secret probation.
Study in contrast here, Gary Tompkins has never won a Skoal race. Top finish was 2nd this year at Can-Am, and Brett Hearn is a 6-time Skoal Series champion. Well, the Suzuki people are sponsoring our race tonight, and they have a special offer for dirt racing fans.
DIRT Motorsports and Suzuki have teamed up to give away this beautiful King Quad. It's a steed the cowboy would be proud to call his own. Tim Sebring, district manager for American Suzuki. How can people win this beautiful four-wheeler?
Well, it's pretty easy from a fan perspective. All they've got to do is go to any dirt track, dirt sanctioned track, and pick up a sweepstakes entry form, fill it out, drop it off at any participating Suzuki dealer.
And then there'll be a drawing for this beautiful King Quad at Super Dirt Week. They've already given away a Marauder 800 motorcycle earlier this year. I tell you what, anybody should be proud to own one of these Suzukis. It's a great machine.
Gary, I think you'd look really good on that one. Rush to win sweepstakes. You agree? Good. I thought you might. Rush to win sweepstakes. Entry form available at any dirt sanctioned race. Bring a completed form to any Suzuki dealer in the Northeast, and the entry must be submitted by September 26, 1998. Well, there's your race leader, Gary Tompkins.
That car is sponsored primarily by Honeoye Auto Parts in Honeoye, New York. Co-sponsored by Red Parker Excavating in Canandaigua, New York. And the driver, Gary Tompkins, employed as a sheet metal apprentice at Delphi in Rochester.
There's your top 5. Tompkins, Hearn, Phelps, Bob McCready, Billy Decker. 13 laps in, and we mentioned the yellow caution laps will not be counted until we get past 25. And here we go, back to green.
And here we go again with Tompkins on. Oh, my goodness.
Turn 4.
Big traffic problem down there. Jimmy Horton is in it. Jack Johnson is in it. Bobby Barron in the 18. The 16 is A.J. Romano. The 77 is Ronnie Johnson. So father, son in this one. There's Ronnie's number 77.
Jimmy Chester.
The Dover brake car is Bobby Barron. Jimmy Horton has not won a Skoal race in a couple of years in the middle of this one. In fact, I talked to Jimmy before the race tonight. I said, how many races have you won already this weekend? He said, I haven't even finished one this weekend. So this may be another one he doesn't finish.
We are live at Cayuga County Fair Speedway, and our coverage of the Suzuki Shootout on Rush Hour will continue after this.
Rush Hour on Dirt.
Doug Logan along with Gary Montgomery back in Weedsport, New York, the home of DIRT Motorsports for the Suzuki Shootout. We're under yellow, 13 laps in, and this crash started with Jack Johnson and that number 1 of Jimmy Horton.
Yeah, Horton's car, and here's a replay. We'll see what happens exactly. But the red car down on the bottom is Jack Johnson. He's trying to make a pass. There was no room there. He ran into Danny Johnson. Then they all jammed up behind him and getting the worst. Here's A.J. Romano sliding in. Ronnie Johnson sliding in. Getting the worst damage. There's Jimmy Chester coming in as well. So I'm not sure where he came from. But at any rate, the guy suffering the most damage would appear to be the M1 of Horton and the 18 of Barron. Barron won the race last night at Canandaigua. He was hoping to make it 2 in a row in the win here for the Dover brake team. But if he does, he'll come from the back and it'll be spectacular.
You were talking about Jimmy's frustration.
Yes. We said he hadn't won a race in a couple of years, the Skoal race in a couple of years. He hasn't won since June of 1996, our first Shower Live program at Fonda. And Jimmy's been consistently finishing in the top someplace or other, but not winning races.
Lap counter is frozen at 13. This is a 98 lap shootout on the Skoal Bandit Racing Super Dirt Series. And this, of course, comes in the middle of one of the grandest weekends of racing in central New York.
Yes, all within about 30-40 miles of radius here. We're racing here tonight. Tomorrow afternoon, they'll race the 49th annual New York State Fair Classic race. That's going to be a 50-lapper on the 1 mile at Syracuse. Then they'll go 30 miles back in the to the west to the Rolling Wheels Raceway for a 75-lapper there. So a whole lot of racing. Plus, they've already run at their Friday and Saturday night racetrack. So a busy weekend for all these DIRT Motorsports competitors.
He's the master of going faster, Bob McCready, but he's not been putting that pedal to the metal much this year. He's quite depressed about his season, but you can never count the number 9 of Barefoot Bob McCready out in a race here at Weedsport, particularly a distance race.
Well, it's the same old thing tonight. Really, we're a third-place car here on a regular night. We try every week to come up with something a little better, and we haven't done it. And you know, in the grand scheme of things, we want to be a 3rd to 5th place car here. So now, with all the really good guys in, it might march us back further. But the only saving grace we have here on a long race is long races are different than the 35-lap race here. You have to be ready at the end, and we know how to do that. And we've got a pretty good crew, and I think that'll make up for some of it. Whether or not we can get the car quick enough to be in the hunt to win, you know, who knows.
He started in the number 7 spot. He currently runs in the number 4 position, so you can never count him out. He sounds a little depressed, but believe me, it's not the kind of year he wants, but most race drivers would trade places with him anytime because he's won every place he races.
And you can tell he's a straight shooter.
He absolutely is. A little down in the dumps it appears, but he'll get it going for sure.
Yeah, on the restart, he's up to 3rd, incidentally. There is the battle for the lead. Tompkins and Brett Hearn. And Jimmy Horton is back on the track on the same lap with the leader.
That's good news. The bad news is he's at the back, not at the front where he was running before.
Here we are up front. Gary Tompkins in the 84. The Budweiser number 3 of Brett Hearn. The number 9 of Barefoot Bob McCready. And look at that number 91.
Decker runs in the number 4 spot. He's being chased by Danny Johnson. There's McCready, a good shot of the Toyota car. He runs to the inside of Hearn, trying to run the bottom of the racetrack. Again, you got to go where the guy in front of you isn't racing or hope he makes a mistake. And Hearn doesn't make many mistakes. So McCready will go the opposite lane wherever Hearn chooses. But they're all trying to run down young Gary Tompkins in the number 84 out front. Here's Brian Turner fighting back. He's lost some spots, but he's trying to come back to the front. He's 27 years old. He's going to be married next Saturday. He's marrying Georgia Bullis. They picked the weekend that was off from racing so that they could tie the knot.
Danny Johnson in the number 6 continues to charge, although he is being challenged right now by the number 11 machine.
And moving up is the number 88, Frank Cozy, the veteran driver out of Wind Gap, Pennsylvania, who's had not the best of years, to say it politely. He's been struggling a bit. He's got his act together right now. He's racing side by side with the 12T, Steve Payne, the driver of the Thumb car tonight. So Payne running in the number 8 spot, trying to run down the 7th place car of Frank Cozy. Good side-by-side racing there. The silly season NASCAR gets a lot of press, Doug, but we've had a silly season here at DIRT Motorsports as well. A lot of different drivers trying out a lot of different cars. And the new combination here started last week was Steve Payne driving for Ricky Corky.
In many ways, the silliest and the most improbable involved Danny Johnson in the number 6 machine, or whatever he chose to get into.
He started out the season in the car, quit it in the middle of a program at Rolling Wheels on the 4th of July weekend, came back to win the race in the backup car to Gary Tompkins. Again, Tompkins is our race leader right now.
Then he drove a bunch of cars, and now he's back with the Ray Bramwell team, the RJD Trucks Troyer car number 6, and he's right now trying to run down the Olsen 91 of Billy Decker.
If he gets it, he'll have 4th spot. Side-by-side racing.
Daring Dan, the stock car man, goes against the Franklin Flyer, Billy Decker, and Decker prevails here as we work lap number 22.
This was the matchup at Brewerton Friday night. Billy Decker edging Danny Johnson.
And with that, Decker earned the track championship at his Friday night race place at Brewerton. He won the race, or didn't win last night at Canandaigua, but he did win the championship there. And if he can finish in front of Pat Ward tonight, he'll win the championship here as well. A banner year, indeed, for Billy Decker.
So Decker and Danny Johnson engaged in a battle for 4th position. And there's Bob McCready. Looks like they're gaining on Bob.
They may be, and McCready's running about 4 lengths behind Hearn, who has lost the 84 of Tompkins. Tompkins now has about a 12-car advantage, but traffic will tighten things up here in just a couple of minutes. Danny continues to hug way down on the bottom. That's not where he wants to race, but that's where he's got to go as he slides it into turn 1, cranks it sideways, drifts high, and no contact. Wow. At over 100 miles an hour, closer than you park your car in the supermarket parking lot with those big tires hanging out. It takes some pretty brave guys to drive these cars.
Danny again ducks down low, 1 and 2.
Yeah, and McCready got up against the wall. Excuse me, Doug.
Well, Danny got the position.
Danny got the spot, and McCready had a problem. So you see Danny comes right to the top now as he made the pass. And Danny has caught McCready without a doubt. That's the battle for the number 3 spot. Again, it's Tompkins leading, Hearn 2nd, McCready 3rd, Danny Johnson 4, Billy Decker running 5.
Now remember, Danny Johnson started 16th. He's up to 4th.
Daring Dan, the stock car man. He's up over the berm there. He went in too hot, got up over the cushion. You can see the heavy clay that built up on the top of the racetrack, and that'll slow him down. The deal is to back it right up to that cushion, ride it, bounce it off of there, but don't get over it. And Danny got over it, and with that, he lost a lot of ground.
So that's our battle for position on the racetrack. Meanwhile, our race leader, Gary Tompkins, has entered lap traffic, and he's trying to negotiate that as Brett Hearn pulls in a little tighter. In fact, a lot tighter.
Another driver on the move is Pat Ward. He started back in position number 15. He's up to the number 6 spot. So Pat Ward, you'll see him in the screen here in just a minute. He's in the red and white number 56.
And Hearn now has Gary Tompkins in his sights.
It was 12 car lengths just a moment ago, but they caught the lap car of Billy Hoff, and that upset the momentum, the pattern that Tompkins was using, and that allowed Hearn to close right in.
Hearn down low. Can he get him out of turn 2? He's got a bumper in front into turn 3. Tompkins battles back.
There was thoughts of a slide job, but Hearn decided better of it. He should have slid up because he falls back to the number 2 spot. We got a battle of chassis here, Doug, and a battle of engine builders as well. Gary Tompkins drives a McNell car with a Mike Mazda-built Chevrolet between the rails, and the Hearn car is built by his brother Bobby, a Teal Pro car with a Tony File-built big block under the hood of that automobile. So chassis, here's a battle for the number 3 spot. Yeah, that'll be for the number 3 spot. Right. McCready gets up over the berm, and Danny made the pass. But can he make it stick? Here's the battle back up front. Hearn on the bottom, and the lap cars will make a difference here. A.J. Romano about to go a lap down in his Skip Seymour car. And,
hey, good track management by Gary Tompkins.
That's the leader's option. Of course, he can go wherever he wants to go, and he's got the best sight of what's developing in front of him.
Well, and there is Danny Johnson right behind the corporate jet, Brett Hearn.
McCready not far behind in 4. Decker holds on to 5. Pat Ward runs in 6. And Ward is catching Decker. Again, the significance here, Decker and Ward are battling for the track championship.
This is the battle for the lead.
And of course, the Skoll championship could be decided as well, as we said at the top of the show. It's pretty much down to a couple of drivers, and they are the 91 of Decker and the 3 of Hearn. Decker leads. I'm sorry, Decker is second in points. Hearn leads.
Let's see what happens here. It is Danny Johnson taking over the number 2 spot from Brett Hearn as they negotiate around Jimmy Chester.
Danny Johnson, a daring move on the bottom. Somehow or other made it stick. Now Hearn's going to have to go to the bottom.
That pass was too easy. I expected some paint to be exchanged.
Yeah, or sparks to fly at least.
Look at this.
It's not over yet, Doug. Long ways to go. We're on lap number 36.
Now the dock has to go down low. Tompkins way up high. He's got the lead.
Tompkins has run the same line all race long.
Now that top side will go away though, won't it?
Well, it'll get further and further out. They hope it doesn't go completely away. They're keeping a couple of inches off the wall, but they'll just throw the dirt up to the wall.
Now Tompkins goes low, Danny Johnson goes high, and that didn't work for the doctor.
Big surprise that Tompkins would do that. Now he's in radio communication with his crew chief, Stu Shepard, and Stu is definitely telling him that Danny's coming. So they're trying to feel things out, determine where the car will work the best. But I would stay with the lady that brought me to that I brought to the dancer, however that expression goes. He was running up on top, it was working. He's now gone to the bottom, and I don't know about that.
Now they swap in turn 3 and 4. Watch this. Tompkins up high. He continues to lead down the front straightaway. And Hearn is observing it all.
He's got the best seat in the house right now. He'd like to be first, but right now he's watching that great battle go on for the number 1 spot.
Interesting with Danny Johnson tracing down Gary Tompkins, because the doctor actually drove one of Tompkins' cars to victory earlier this year.
It was a school race at Rolling Wheels, and probably the best race I've ever witnessed in the 30 or so years that I've been going to races. Danny started in the absolute back. He'd never been in the car before that night, never driven a Bicknell car before. He came methodically through the field to win it in an absolutely outstanding run. That was the night he quit the 6 car. We talked about that earlier. But he's back in it tonight and trying to run down that number 84.
Now lap traffic.
And he has outrun it right there.
He's got it. He's got the lead, and Tompkins battles right back.
The lap car of Jason Barney, car number 5, could be a factor here. He's using the outside lane. That's where Danny is. So Tompkins has come to the bottom.
Case closed here.
Yeah, but I think Barney's now changed lanes. And, yeah, that's it. For the moment, anyway.
So Danny Johnson started 16th. He's currently running number 1 here in the Suzuki Shootout.
Tompkins started outside the front row, won the drag race, and led the entire distance officially, although Hearn got by him for a moment. But when they came to the line, it's always been Gary Tompkins until lap number 43, when the doctor, nearing Dan the stock car man, put the Ray Bramble car at the head of the class.
And that's where he stands. The number 6 of Danny Johnson is your race leader, and we're nearing the midway point here in the Suzuki Shootout. Our coverage will continue on Rush Hour.
Rush Hour on Dirt.
Doug Logan along with Gary Montgomery back at Cayuga County Fair Speedway, Weedsport, New York. The Suzuki Shootout is now 50 laps in, and there's your leader, the number 6 of the Dr. Danny Johnson.
And here's a good battle going on for position number 5 now. Decker running in the number 5 spot, but the 19 is Timmy Fuller. He's trying to take over the position. Fuller out of Edwards, New York, trying to run down Decker as they work through 3 and 4 and by the lap car of Jimmy Chester. Just in front of them, you see Bob McCready running in position number 4.
Now Decker has 18 overall modified wins this season, his best ever total. It's really been a magical season for Billy.
It certainly has. And tonight could be championship number 3 of the weekend, and that would be a great story there. Another great story is Jimmy Horton. We saw him in the crash earlier, made a pit stop, came out in the lead lap. He's now worked himself up to position number 9. So Jimmy Horton is definitely on a mission now. He's at position 9 with a Bob and Michelle Faust car number M1.
Ooh, nice move there by the bug chaser.
It certainly was. And there's Pat Ward showing you the picture again. Oh, Fuller is getting a little anxious. Jason Barney, the youngster on the outside. Fuller running out of patience, made a little contact, but no damage was done, and he accomplishes his mission. He got by him.
Pat Ward hanging tough. He's got to get by Decker if he's going to entertain any thoughts of possibly winning the track championship here at Weedsport for the year.
Yeah, he's got to get more than get by. That's right. He's got to at least do that. But there's a 26-point separation, so
He's got to finish in front of him by several positions to pick up the championship. Talk about the breakout year that Decker's having. Well, Pat Ward is having likewise a very, very good year. He's won races every place he's raced. He won his first ever school race at the Can-Am Speedway earlier this summer. It's been a great year for Pat Ward.
As for the number 91 of Billy Decker, yes, he is having the season of his career, and he's truly driving with confidence.
Well, we're having a lot of fun, I can tell you, and it's real great. I'm happy for my guys. Everybody's worked real hard at it. But I think when you're having a year like we're having, you just carry a lot of confidence. When you make a decision, it's right no matter what. You know, it's right if you have to make it right, or it just happens to be right. And I just think when it's your turn, things go your way, and it happens for you.
Billy was a heat winner earlier this evening, along with Frank Cozy, Bob McCready, and Danny Johnson. The consolation winners tonight, Vic Coffey and Chuck Bauer.
We've got some great racing going on here. This is, again, the battle for position number 5. Decker, here's Danny Johnson threading his way through lap cars. He's about to go by Sears in the 83 and Coffey in the 32. The battle that we're about to talk about was the one for position 5. Decker has it, but the Timmy Fuller car is right there chasing him. Doug Hoffman, yeah, just pulled down. So there's a problem for Dougie Hoffman.
He's out of the race. Danny Johnson running the high groove out of turn 4 and just barrels down the front straightaway. He is the race leader, and he's got a comfortable lead over Gary Tompkins.
And the comfort comes not so much in the distance, but the fact that he's got about 15 car lengths, but in that 15 car lengths are 3 lap cars, and that's been a problem here for a lot of drivers. Hearn has lost ground as well. He's way back. He's got 4 lap cars between himself and the second place runner, Tompkins. So it's Danny, Tompkins, Hearn, McCready closing in, Decker holding on to the number 5 spot. Tim Fuller runs in 6. Pat Ward is in 7. 8 now is Jimmy Horton. So Jimmy Horton continues to march towards the front.
So the leader continues to be the defending Skoal champion, Danny Johnson, in the number 6. Let's get an update on that situation from Cowboy Paul Small.
Watching the race as it develops here, the story right now with this long green flag session is lap traffic, and Dr. J. Danny Johnson is doing a masterful job at getting through that traffic right now. If he keeps going at this pace, there's probably no way that Tompkins or Hearn are going to be able to close in on him, because the groove of the racetrack now is pretty much consistent top to bottom. There's rubber all the way up and down the racetrack, and you've got to stay on the outside to get around the lap cars. So it's up to Danny right now. He's truly in the driver's seat in this one.
He's logged a lot of laps at this racetrack from the very beginning of his career. This is one of his regular racetracks, and so he's got a lot of laps here. A very, very talented driver. Of course, his dad taught him everything he knows. You can ask Bill, he'll tell you that. Danny's brother Alan, not here tonight, but he's off running in Cornwall with a Mr. Dirt 358 race. Steve Payne pulling out of the race here on the front straightaway with Rick and Corky's dump car number 12P. So Steve Payne has a problem. He'll retire on lap number 65.
So our Suzuki shootout continues. We're 65 laps in, 98 in all. And the leader is the number 6 of Danny Johnson. Our coverage will continue on Rush Hour.
Rush Hour on Dirt.
Back in Weedsport, 28 laps remaining in our Suzuki shootout. The leader is the number 6 of Danny Johnson. Running well, the number 9 of Barefoot Bob McCready, right behind at Budweiser number 3 of Brett Hearn. It's a battle that's raging on the racetrack. And you know, there's a real special story concerning a member of Bob McCready's race team. Let's go to Cowboy Paul Small.
Well, that story shakes out like this, Doug. Fred Fitch is the man who runs Syracuse Frame Service. Fred and Bob have been friends for years. As a matter of fact, Fred's been sponsoring Bob's car for 13 years. Not only that, Fred is the sponsor of tonight's race here at the Speedway on the local level. But there's more to it than that. Not only are Fred and Bob good friends, but standing up on the roof somewhere here in the Cayuga County facility, spotting for Bob is none other than Fred Fitch. And they've been doing that together for the same 13 years that Fred's been sponsoring the race car. That's what I call real sponsor relations, guys.
Yeah, and this is what I call great dirt modified racing.
I don't know what the sponsor or the spotter is telling McCready right now. You look on either side of you, Bob, and they're all over.
He wasn't saying clear.
No clear there. Hearn on the outside, Decker on the inside. It looks like McCready well, he had the pass made, but the lap car of Bobby Barron will be a factor here, and he's running the bottom where McCready is running. So this one is not over yet, but boy, some very great racing.
Hearn, McCready, and Decker all in a battle for third spot. McCready tries to get Brett Hearn, can't quite do it. Brett gets a little more bite coming out of 2.
Yeah, McCready's got a problem. He doesn't know to go after Hearn or protect the spot. And Decker says, well, we'll have enough of that, and he'll just pass him. So there goes Decker by McCready on the bottom. He'll stay right down there and try to run by Hearn as well, but the lap car of Barron again playing a factor, and Decker does make the pass, and he's going to go up to the top of the racetrack. So Billy Decker comes to the number 3 spot. Again, the leader is Danny Johnson. Gary Tompkins runs in 2. New man in 3 is Billy Decker.
You can also see that Fuller and Ward and Horton are catching up to Bob McCready.
Yeah, the very, very impressive run by Jimmy Horton. Made the pit stop, came from the back, and he's now running in the number 8 spot.
Well, actually, he's been impressive, you know, for years. He just hasn't gotten to victory lane.
Yeah, just doesn't win. But to come from the back on this tight track with all this traffic is a very, very nice job.
This year, 5th in the Skoal Bandit Racing Super Dirt Series points picture.
We talk about points. We talked about at the top of the show. Hearn is our Skoal Super Dirt Series point leader, 1,401 points. Decker is 90 points back. It's going to be settled between those 2 drivers. This is the last race, as you said before, Syracuse is double points there. So these 2 guys battling it out. The fact that Decker has passed Hearn is huge.
Meanwhile, Bob McCready continues to lose a bit of ground to Brett Hearn.
And not losing ground is Jimmy Horton. He is now showing in the screen, running way down on the bottom in the black and red car number M1.
We said that the car was getting away from McCready. He's right there next to Brett the Jet. Good battle for position.
Great racing. And
he got it.
Yeah, Paul Small talked about the track being equal top and bottom. I didn't think he was right, but maybe he is. There's McCready. Oh. You talked about the track going away, Doug. Well, there's an example. The cushion is right up to the Jersey barriers now, and that's where McCready's running, and you'll make contact occasionally. He just bounced off. No damage was done, but it scared the daylights out of me, I'll tell you.
The leader is Danny Johnson. We are live in Weedsport, and our coverage of the Suzuki Shootout continues on Rush Hour.
Rush Hour on Dirt.
Back at Cayuga County Fair Speedway in Weedsport, New York, there's your race leader. We are under yellow at lap 88 of our 98-lap race. Car spinning in turn 4. That's the number 44 of Jimmy Chester, who's righted now.
Chester, the young driver out of Newfield, New Jersey, was just caught in a bunch of traffic and got on the brakes to avoid contact, looped the car. Tough break for him.
There's Bob McCready in the number 9. We were talking about how the track up top was getting away a little bit, and you mentioned, Gary, that before the night was over, he might be driving up on the wall, and he did that a few moments ago in turn 2.
He actually done it a couple of times, and here's a shot of it again.
Watch this. What kind of a bite does that wall have? Ooh.
Oh, he got a front and rear, so that's a heavy hit. But it just tough old Troyer bust bounces off and continues.
9 laps to go. Let's get an observation from Cowboy Paul Small.
While we were in the commercial break, barefoot Bob McCready running up high in turns 1 and 2 actually slapped the right rear up against the wall pretty good, so you know that car is pretty loose right now. Now the question is, after such an extended period of caution flag laps, going back to green now, we have what happens, a heat cycle in the tires. The tires have heated and cooled. That's a cycle. Now they'll heat back up again. The question is, how well will they work after this heat cycle is completed and this new one starts when we go back to green flag racing? Will Danny Johnson have enough tires left to go the last 8 laps of this one? We'll find out.
Yes, that's right. About to find out as Danny Johnson fires down the front straightaway, and he had a big lead on Gary Tompkins. The caution, of course, bunches everybody up. So Tompkins back in the picture, and there's Billy Decker in the 91.
So Decker is in the picture. The guy that's not in the picture any longer is Brett Hearn. He slipped back and is running in the number 6 spot now. And he's about to lose that position as he's being chased by Pat Ward and the M1 of Jimmy Horton. So there's a problem for Brett Hearn.
And Hearn, who has led 7 school races this year, a total of 451 laps. No other drivers led more than 145 entering this competition, is sliding. Decker is looking to be the beneficiary. And that would be in the school points race.
And there's Decker running in the number 3 spot on the bottom. McCready up on top, and there you get a shot of the battle for the lead as well. The lap car that's a factor here is the blue and white number 88 of Frank Cozy. It's still Danny Johnson leading, but now by about 3 car lengths over Gary Tompkins, not far behind them. Decker running 3, McCready's in 4. There you see him as they race down the front straightaway.
Well, the Doctor continues to dominate. Decker running in the 3rd spot.
And also showing in the screen a white car racing down on the bottom is Tim Fuller, the young driver out of Edwards, New York. He's in position 5, trying to run down McCready. He is right there.
One of our subplots, of course, the track championship here in Weedsport. It looks like Billy Decker is headed toward his first Cayuga County Fair Speedway track title.
That would be his 3rd of the weekend, as we mentioned earlier. He won at Brewer to the championship there at Trotty, won the Canandaigua championship. That's his Saturday night race place. And if he wins here tonight, it would be 3 track championships in a row.
You see it, 3 laps to go. Now down the front straightaway, just 2 laps remaining in our Suzuki Shootout.
And the battle right now is for position 4, as it's been for a number of laps, and you're not getting it on the screen, but it's the 19 of Fuller working the inside of McCready. Here's Decker, the lap car, and here's our race leader. White flag flies Danny Johnson.
Yep, Dave Farney waves the white flag. Danny Johnson smooth in turn 2. Now brings it out a bit from the inside wall down the back straightaway. One more charge for Gary Tompkins in the 84 in turn 3. He closes in on Danny Johnson, but the Doctor looks smooth out of turn 4. And Danny Johnson is the winner of the Suzuki Shootout.
Gary Tompkins gets 2nd. 3rd goes to the 91 of Decker, and at the line it was McCready by a bumper over Timmy Fuller. Very, very close there. 6th will be Brett Hearn. 7th is Jimmy Phelps. 8th would be the 56 of Pat Ward. 9 the M1 of Jimmy Horton, and rounding out the top 10 unofficially would be Brian Turner in car number 11.
Win number 3 in the Skull Bandit Racing Super Dirt Series in '98 for the Dr. Danny Johnson. And our coverage of the Suzuki Shootout will continue on Rush Hour.
Rush Hour on Dirt.
Production support for Rush Hour on Dirt is provided by Access Rentals in Syracuse and Albany, New York. One of the country's largest suppliers of aerial lifts. They extend every effort to get your job done. Access Rentals. And remember, the official supplier of DIRT Motorsports apparel is Bob Hilbert Sportswear. The winner of our Suzuki Shootout is the Dr. Danny Johnson, and we're headed down to Victory Lane and Cowboy Paul Small.
And I guess you would have to call him tonight Dan the Dominator. What a ride for you, man.
I tell you, yeah, it was a super ride. This car just couldn't have been any better for me. I got to thank the RJD crew for giving me such a great car here today, and giving me the opportunity to come here and get into Victory Lane even after, you know, starting 16 starting spots. So I tell you, we're really ecstatic with the win here today.
Some pretty masterful drives through lap traffic was probably the key to this win. You were really stretching it out into those long green flag sessions.
Yeah, I tell you, that was the worst thing in the world I wanted to see was a caution with a few laps to go, because it just changed, it just broke up my whole momentum. But, you know, I just got to say hello to everybody at home, and congratulations on a great win for the RJD truck number 6.
Well, congratulations to you, the driver.
Yeah, well, I tell you, you know, it's a team effort. You know, Troyer, Penske Shocks, and just everybody involved is such a great deal to, you know, to get us here in Victory Lane. It's not any key component. It's a combination of a bunch of things, and we got the combination, so it's working well for us.
Danny Johnson, your winner of the Suzuki Shootout, guys.
And it's a good time of year to get that combination going, because right around the corner, Super Dirt Week 27, October 6th through the 10th at the New York State Fairgrounds.
This is it. The biggest week in dirt track racing, Super Dirt Week. This extravaganza of dirt takes over the Moody Mile, the fastest, most treacherous dirt track in the USA. And Rush Hour will be there for every lap. Follow every story, witness every crash, listen in on every decision. If you just can't be there, then catch the rush with Rush Hour on Dirt.
We have a special offer for you October 6th to the 10th at the New York State Fairgrounds. Lower level seating. Tickets start as low as $50 for the entire week. Advance tickets are available by calling area code 315-834-6606. Watch the race live and up close and personal, along with the big giant screen jumbotrons. All at the New York State Fairgrounds. Call for tickets. We'll return to Weedsport after this timeout. This is Rush Hour.
Rush Hour on Dirt.
We're back in Weedsport, New York. The two subplots, the point situation, how does it stand, Gary?
Track championship goes to Billy Decker. The 76 points separate Brett Hearn, who leads the Skoal Super Dirt Series, over Billy Decker. It'll be settled at Syracuse. Double points on the line there. It's going to go down to the final checker on the Moody Mile.
Between Brett the Jet and the Franklin Flyer. There's our unofficial result. Danny Johnson takes home the checkered flag, and you see Frank Cozy 10th, Todd Milton and Tommy Sears Jr. rounding out the top 12 of our Suzuki shootout here in Weedsport. Special thanks for all the statistical help in the booth to Tom Skabinski and Kevin Kovac. There is your race champion, the Dr. Danny Johnson. What a race!
Certainly was. His 7th career Skoal Super Dirt race win here. 47th career Super Dirt race win for Daring Dan, the stock car man.
And there are the points after 18 of 19 races, and it's going to boil down between Brett Hearn and Billy Decker at the Moody Mile, the New York State Fairgrounds, coming up in just a few short weeks.
Mr. Consistency, Jimmy Horton is still in there, 169 points out. He won't be the champion, but he'll be close.
Big day in racing tomorrow, Labor Day at the New York State Fairgrounds. They'll be racing at 1 o'clock, the New York Fair Championship. And then tomorrow evening, it's on to Rolling Wheels Raceway Park
for the Robert M. Petrosi 75-lap Memorial Day memorial event for Robert Petrosi.
And we look forward to seeing you there. For Gary Montgomery, Paul Small, and the entire Rush Hour on Dirt crew, this is Doug Logan saying congratulations to Danny Johnson, the winner of our Suzuki Shootout. Thank you for joining us, and so long for now.
The executive producer of Rush Hour on Dirt is Glenn Donnelly. Rush Hour is a production of DIRT Motorsports and a presentation of the DIRT Motorsports Television Network.